A warm welcome to you this Sunday. Well, it's right now a sunny Sunday morning. It's the 7th day in October 2018, and yes, you're listening to your Groove and Style station. We are Garden City Radio 89.9 FM, and of course, my name is Dawn. Yes, we do this every Sundays at about this time, 10 o'clock or 10-ish, 10 adjacent, I guess. Okay, so I do hope all of you are having a wonderful and great and awesome time and day today. I hope church was amazing, and even if you didn't go to church, I hope just being you was amazing enough. Now, what do we do here for the first time, as who might just be tuning in? Well, we talk a lot here. In fact, from now till midday, we'll be talking. Not just myself anyway, you will be included in the talk and the gist. We share stories here. True life stories about true life people, living people, and sometimes dead, but still people who have lived. We talk about our human experience, our human walk, our journey on this earth, on this planet where we have been kept to experience the things that we experience through our spirit and even through our flesh. We talk about pain, we talk about triumph, we talk about shame, we talk about happiness, joys, we talk about mistakes, we talk about it all. You see, we are real here, and we're willing to be real and raw and vulnerable for the world to see. Not just myself, but those who call in and contribute. Yes, I have it on good authority from the horse's mouth oftentimes that the program has been of beneficial help to various people. Sometimes I even hear it through the loved ones or even friends of those who listened in, who may not have the time or want to make themselves known, that they have been greatly helped by the program. And so for that, to all of you who have called in one day or the other, one time or the other, and given your contributions, even your stories, giving advice, I say thank you. Because without you, we wouldn't have been able to help the people we have helped so far. Yes, we open ourselves up here and we allow people see as it be, see our inner workings, and help us out of our problems, or help us out of the psychological issues or even spiritual issues we may be going through. Yes, sometimes the program takes a spiritual slant, philosophical slant, psychological slant. Anyhow it is, it always takes us through a human slant, whatever logical or illogical, or I don't know the words you use today, but it takes us through a human slant. So what are we going to be talking about today? Well, it's a tough one. It might be a bit dark. I don't know, maybe morbid. I don't know, but it's going to be a bit dark, in the sense that we are going to be talking about okay, you know what do you think would happen if you weren't around, or if I weren't around? If suddenly you or I were no more? Yes, we're talking about death, and I know it's a topic that makes people uncomfortable. You see, this morning I opened up Facebook, and the first thing I saw was a friend's pitiful post about someone who had died. A young man, very young man. And from the comments, I saw that he had lived, I'd like to say, a very spiritual life, being a Christian and possibly born again. But he died. And he's gone. Now, what's going to happen as he is no more? Who's going to fill his shoes? That vacuum that's been left. Now, this is not going to be an exercise in check yourself, because you may not live, or you might die and go to hell or go to heaven. No, that's not the slant of today's topic. The slant of today's topic is the indispensability of man, or dispensability if you want to call it that. Now, I'm not sure there's a word like dispensability. But I know there's a word like indispensable and of course dispensable. So yes, the indispensability of man or the dispensability of man. And when I say man, it's gender neutral, it's for male and female. I'll tell you the true story of a guy. He's dead now. Somebody's grandfather, somebody's father, somebody's brother. He lived around well, the old days. So let's say he was born in the 40s, maybe 40s, 50s. I think 40s or 30s. But lived to the age of 83 before he died. Nice man, believed in God and all that. Now, a problem between him and his wife would see him leaving her to go and live elsewhere and be with another woman. Now, it is not clear if, according to the story I heard, it is not clear if he was cheating on his wife before he left, or he left and then found himself with this other woman. But he left, leaving behind a boy and a girl. I have had calls on several occasions to come in contact with the boy and girl who are now elderly men, who is now an elderly man and an elderly woman. They're fairly successful. And I like sitting down and listening to them when they talk about this, that, and the other. I learn a lot from the older ones. And you could stand to learn a thing or two by listening to elderly people speak. They have a world of wisdom. They're like a book that you crack open and you don't read, you listen to when they speak about the things you've been through and possibly learn what to avoid and what not to avoid. So this man and his sister, at one point in time or the other, I have had the pleasure of being in their presence. And they'll tell you how they grew up missing their father, how they grew up wishing he was around, and the many times they tried to reach out, they tried to go and see him where he was now living, and it was difficult. Of course, the dynamics of step brothers and sisters, and then of course a stepmother who, for the most part, we all know stories like this, never really liked them. And so she did her best to keep them at bay, and even to also keep the man from his children. And so the young girl would end up going abroad to study and work and do all sorts of things. And she's made a name for herself. I mean, she's famous. And when her father became ill, she didn't come back. And he would eventually die. And she still didn't come back because there was no connect. There had never been a connect. Yes, he's my father. Once or twice he had paid my school fees, but for the most part he was generally absent. So she didn't come back. And you see, that was a relationship lost. Because getting to know this woman, oh my goodness, she has her coincide, but she's amazing. She's fought hard for all she has gotten. And she's one of the most, how will I put this now? She's one of the most people person I've ever met. I mean, people person. But, she's accepting of all. She tries to help people more often than not. She's been hurt a couple of times or two, but, she's still that people person. Not eager to please, but what is your problem? And if she's able to solve it. And when she speaks, she's so intelligent. I'm like, wow. Remember I did say, when you interact with people or when you learn from the elderly, sometimes it happens with people in our own age grade. And when I say age grade, people in their 30s and 40s. Some people have been through so much that when they open their mouths, they are a deep well of experience we can drink from. And so when she speaks, I like to listen because there's a lesson to learn there. And it deeply saddened me that this person, this world, wasn't shared with her father. She as a world, and possibly he too, he must have had something good in him, something going, something to give, and they missed out on that. Yeah. The indispensability of man, or the dispensability of man. Sometimes we don't know how important we are. And sometimes we don't know we are not so important. We are actually dispensable. But sometimes we're indispensable. What do we do with it? And so this old man and his daughter missed out. There was no connect. And the son, in talking with him, I love him so much because he's also one of those that allows you see into him. Intimacy, into me, see. And in talking, you see tears would fill his eyes and to well up because he also missed his father. And from the way he sounds, still does. He misses the connection that they didn't have, and it's something he yearns for. Maybe that's why he surrounds himself with people, because he's still looking for that connect, for that acceptance, for that love. But you see, there is nothing more than a father's love or a mother's love. Friends can try to fill that void or vacuum, but there's just, it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It would somehow, yeah, get into it, but it wouldn't quite fit. And so his father got sick. And he happened to be around, so he raced to his father's side because love, because connection, because union, because he wanted his father. But the guy was down with his stroke, I believe, or something. Couldn't speak, couldn't move, couldn't do anything. And the step brothers and step sisters couldn't be bothered. They had their lives to live. Stepmother too, well, she was hovering somewhere. And yet this one who wanted to be indispensable to his father, as the father was indispensable to him, was the only one who sat with his father and would sometimes read to his father. This is in Nigeria, not a film. Read to his father. He would bring out prayer books and he would be saying prayers with his father, not knowing if the father was paying attention, if the father was following the prayers or whatever, because he couldn't speak, he couldn't move, he couldn't do a lot of things, but his eyes, he says his eyes always had this, he was present. You could see that the spirit, the soul was still there, but the body was gone. And then one fine day, while reading from, I don't know what book was that now, Breviary or something. I'm not deep on using prayer books. But while reading it, and I think the Breviary contains bits and pieces, readings of the Bible, then Psalms and stuff like that, you know. So I was reading it. And it could be that he was going too fast. And as he said it, even me, I feel like tearing up because I'm seeing his face as he was talking to me, and yeah, you could see the emotion. He said, while reading this thing, suddenly his father, old and frail, lying in that bed, peeing and, you know, relieving himself there, people had to clean him up, moved and tapped him on his arm to signal, slow down, slow down. You see, he was following the prayer. And in that moment, without this man telling me this thing, I knew that in that moment, there was a connect. No matter that it may have taken over 50 years to get, there was that connect. Shortly after, sadly, yep, his father died. Shortly after. But I like to think that this man holds on to that one moment in time when there was that connection, and inside of that, father and son were truly father and son. So it's 28 minutes gone past 10 o'clock. We are going to be talking about the indispensability of man, or the dispensability of man. It's going to be a dark one. Well, stick around because, yeah, it concerns you and it concerns me. We'll be bringing you at 10:30. We'll be bringing you Prevailers Moments with Bishop Olisa. Now, remember that lasts for only 15 minutes, so the program will continue at 10:45. Yes, we'll play one musical or two, and then the talking will continue. But first, let's take this short commercial break, and then bring you Prevailers Moments with Bishop Olisa. Now, of course, it goes without saying, don't touch that dial and don't go nowhere. It's still Dawn on Sunday. Welcome back. Time check is well, it's 5 minutes to 11. Yes, 5 minutes to the top of the hour, and you're still tuned to your Groove and Style station. We are Garden City Radio 89.9 FM. My name is Dawn, and the program is Dawn on Sundays. Of course, if you are just tuning in, well, you're in luck. Maybe you just came out or got out of church. You're in luck. We've still got time. Now, what have we been talking about? I'll tell you. But first, for those who might just be tuning in for the very first time and not sure what's going on, well, we talk. We talk here. We tell stories. We tell your stories. Relatable stories, yes. We tell stories that speak of to experiences which you also might have experienced. We talk about pain, fear, shame, our mistakes, our highs, our lows, and our in-betweens. Yes. People have called in to say the program has helped change their lives, or at least help open their minds, or help them make up their minds about different things. Yes. And hopefully it is our prayer that you also get affected by the prayer. It is also my pleasure, yes, my pleasure and my honor to say thank you to all of you who have called in at one time or the other to give your contributions, to even tell your stories, to give advice. Yes, this platform is for all. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are, where you are. It doesn't even matter what your religious or non-religious slants might be or leaning might be. This is for everybody. It's as much your platform as it is mine. So earlier on we were talking about the indispensability of man, or the dispensability of man. That's today's story. We began the program on death. I talked about a young man who, on opening my Facebook page, I saw a friend's post about a young man who had died. And the comments they spoke more to his religious slant or leaning. He was a church boy. He loved, I guess you could say he was spiritual. And he died so young. Yes, it's a sad thing. And it got me thinking about our dispensability or indispensability. Now, before we go forward, I'd like to tell you that we are all dispensable, no matter what area of life we find ourselves. And when I say life, I'm speaking about our marriages, relationships we have. I'm speaking about our jobs. I'm speaking even about life. You see, no one is guaranteed immortality in life. Also, no one is guaranteed permanency in any facet of life. You see that job that you hold so dear, and you use it as a tool to intimidate or bully or hurt or harm people. You're dispensable in it. A time shall come when your services may no longer be needed, or you might lack the strength to carry on, and thus would have to retire or be fired. You're dispensable there. Even in the relationships, love, marriage, and just ordinary friendships, well, sadly, in relationships, people are dispensable. Sometimes you might find yourself in friendships where you are the one being used, or you are the one using somebody. And when you have no need for each other, depending on the scenario, user or usee, you discard yourselves. Dispensable. Everyone is dispensable. And so I told you the story of an old guy, an elderly guy, who is a friend of mine. I'm friends with them, he and his sister. And he talked about his father's absence in his life and how it made him feel. Now his sister, I guess you could say she's more thick-skinned than he, moved on to bigger and better things, and also forgot about her father. As far as she was concerned, if you forget about me, well, okay, I go and do my own thing in my own corner and forget about you. And so when he died, she wasn't even present. Now I don't know if she feels something about not being present, but well, she wasn't present. But this guy, who is in his, let's see now, if I am correct, he should be in his 60s, I believe. Yes, I love learning from different people. I can learn from children, I can learn from the elderly. Everybody is a world of knowledge. And if you would allow, you would learn beautiful and amazing things from anybody. Even a mad person can end up being, let's see, an educative tool. So yes, he raced to the side of his father, who was, he couldn't speak, he couldn't move, he couldn't do anything but his eyes. I said earlier that he said his eyes still showed life, that there was a spirit and there was a soul still in there, no matter how cloudy or glazed over, something was there. And so he would spend days and sometimes nights sitting at his father's side, while his stepbrothers and stepsisters and stepmother disappeared. Sometimes they would pass and say, ah, you're still here? Oh, that's lovely. And they would move on, which was quite surprising to hear, because I am big on family, but well, I guess not everyone is gifted with that bone, maybe. And so he would read to his father. Ordinary books, because his father loved to read, or prayer books, just praying. Because I mean, at that point in time, faced with your mortality, and definitely not immortality, we turn to God, we turn to something. Because nobody wants to die and nobody knows what's on the other side. This is not about getting you scared. It's just, you know, we're talking and we're thinking. So he began reading from the breviary. And I said the breviary is a book filled with excerpts of the Bible, and Psalms, well, still from the Bible, and of the prayers. And all the while he had been reading it to his old man, there was no sign apart from the fact that his eyes were either open or for the most part closed. And so one day while reading, this bedridden man who couldn't move suddenly lifted his arm and tapped his son on his arm as well, or rather lifted his hand and tapped his son on his arm, signifying slow down. So even though his eyes may have been closed at that point in time, he was paying attention, he was aware, he was following the prayers with his son. And in that moment, there was a connect. It may have taken so many years, but in that moment, there was the father and son connect. No matter how short, because some days after, his father eventually passed on. We are all dispensable. Now, what we do while we remain indispensable is really up to us. That's it. It's really up to us. This is not a program to tell you, live a good life because you don't know if you're going to heaven or hell. This is also not a debate as to whether there is the existence of heaven or hell. I mean, should the very existence, oh, I'm sorry, yes, I see the phone lines blinking. I will open the phone lines in a minute. Just give me a second to land, okay? Thank you. So, Mr. 1508, please call back when I open the phone lines. Thank you. So, this is not a debate or a talk about whether hell or heaven exists. And should we be good to ourselves or to each other just because of fear, the fear of missing heaven, if it actually exists, or the fear of going to hell, if it actually exists. I mean, shouldn't we just be good because we are created in that fashion to understand the difference between good and evil? I mean, as an ordinary person, we know that bad doesn't feel so good. We know that we don't like to be hurt, or we don't like to be spoken down to or ill-treated in any way, shape, or form. And when we do good, we enjoy the feeling it evokes in us. We enjoy the smile or the gratitude we receive. You know, it makes us feel good. So why don't we just continue being good and doing good to one another? It takes nothing, except of course the consciousness to choose to be good. Minus that, you're not paying to be good. They're not going to write it on a billboard somewhere, oh, he was a good man or she was a good woman or something. It's just something to be while we are here. It's part of the human experience and the human walk to be good. So when we walk about forgetting ourselves and suddenly start thinking that we are indispensable, that without us so many things will not happen, and then it makes us turn into things we have no business being. For some, it's being overly critical because they feel I am needed here, therefore I can just do as I like. For some, it's talking at people, talking down to people. It's a horrible thing to feel that we are so indispensable that we can just misbehave. And yet, each and every one of us is dispensable. In life, we must die. We're dispensable. In the work sphere of life as well, we are dispensable because we could either come to the end of our contract. In fact, this program, I always come every Sunday knowing that one day I will no longer be here. And I'm prepared for it and I'm ready for it. Because nothing, not even the situations we find ourselves in life is permanent. Nothing. We are all dispensable. So here's a crazy idea. While we are dispensable, why don't we live? I know, yes, you might look at it and say, in Nigeria, things are tough. Times are hard. I'm trying to just get by and survive, fill my stomach with food, and wait till the next day so that I can eat again and just survive. No. Here's a crazy thought. It's radical. It's far out. It's new. Or maybe it's not so new. Why don't you live each day? And when I say live. What's that dream that's in you? What's that thing you've been wanting to do? Who's the person you've been wanting to speak to? When I say speak to, I'm not saying confront or go and meet the person and say, you bullied me, you did this. No. I mean the thing that's supposed to grow you, develop you, change your life, change your circumstance, or help leave your mark. Sotonye was here, Biobele was here, Dawn was here. You know, that legacy, your footprint in the sands of time. Because we're dispensable. I told you I opened my Facebook page and the first thing I saw was death. Somebody had died. I don't know the guy, but he had died. And all I could think to say was, well, I don't know why God takes the good ones so soon. But we rest assured that he is being held in the bosom of our Lord, where there is no pain, there is no fear, there is no shame, there is no torture, no worry. We are all dispensable. So live. Go after that dream. Do you want to travel abroad? Through the good way anyway. To see parts of the world or all of the world. Go after it. The highest you will get is no, visa denied. But what if visa accepted or granted? Then you travel, see the world, experience the humanity that God has put you down here to experience. Experience one another, laugh, love, eat, drink, take care of each other, be there for one another, live. Because you're dispensable, you and I. In a twinkle of an eye, it could all come to an end. And I'm not talking about the trumpet sound. I don't even know if there will ever be a trumpet sound. Maybe the world will just cease to exist. And we'll just find ourselves, I don't know, maybe back to the source, connected to He that is life. Or maybe it would just be nothing, as in no limbo, no anything. There would just be nothing. There would be no awareness. There would be no state of consciousness, be it spirit or physical. I don't know. But for the most part, all we have is now. It's here. It's this. So experience it. Enjoy it. Utilize it to its fullest. Live. Because you and I are dispensable. We don't know when it will end. And in that way, let's stop being nasty to each other. Let's stop thinking that, okay, because this person did me this, I will therefore do this person that, so that the person will feel bad. Okay, this person needs me to be there for the person so that the person can, exist or live or eat or whatever. And because the person has done something to you or not, you decide to make your absence felt and known. What if the shoe is on the other foot? And you might also need that person. And that person decides to be like you and disappear. So that his or her absence will be felt. Who is it helping? The tit for tat things we do to each other. When we have so short a time to be on this rock called earth. We are dispensable. We have no time to waste, but we have time to lose. So maybe there's something new you want to learn. Maybe it's a new language. Or maybe it's a new job. Something, whatever, I don't know. You go for it. Because you are dispensable. Time is ticking away. I think it was last week I said it. The minute you are born, you start to die. You are dispensable. Let me tell a story of a friend of mine. Let's call her Jessica. She was in a relationship with a man I would call Raymond. Of course, these are not their real names, but let's call him Raymond. Rich guy, had it all going. Of course, he worked for it. I'm not saying one of those people whose millions or fortunes you cannot trace. It had a traceable source, and he was hardworking. But he was also the type who worked hard and played hard. And he was madly in love with Jessica. They were going together. But you see, Jessica had this very bad habit. In fact, I have two stories that kind of rhyme like this. Whenever he made her angry, she would disappear. Make him look for her because she was indispensable. She knew how he valued her and cherished her presence in his life. And she kept doing this thing just to score points or to what's that thing? What's that word? How do you put that word now? To prove a point. Now one day, you see, human beings, no matter what, we all have a breaking point. We all have a line where, you know what, to hell with it. If the heavens want to fall, fine, I'm done. Raymond had finally reached this point. And one day, she did this disappearing act thing. In fact, she came to my house in the morning. I was like, Jessica, what's up? And she was telling me all the things he did, this one, that one, talking, one thing. And I was like, okay. You see, this thing is a bad idea. I think you guys need to talk about it. That was the first time I would be introduced to their relationship. I just knew, okay, Raymond and Jessica are dating. But to be thrust as a third wheel into what, the goings on of their lives, that would be my first time. And so she said, okay, fine, it's possible you have you're making sense. Okay, let me call him. And she calls him and he refuses to pick her call. And she keeps calling and you could see her face. She had this look of bravado first and it slowly began to change till it became full-blown worry. Raymond wasn't picking her call. So she was like, Dawn, call Raymond with your number and see if he'll pick. And I called and he picked up. Of course I had to talk. I was like, Raymond, hi, it's Dawn. And I was like, oh, Dawn, what's up? I was like, Jessica is with, before I finished that, he just did, I said, please, what's going on? And the first words out of his mouth was, "That's your friend. She thinks she's indispensable. I'm going to show her." Wow. And he talked and talked. I really don't like being thrust into people's relationships because it makes me feel uncomfortable. I hate volatile situations. I don't like it. But he had to talk, and so my ear was free. And he talked about her mind games, the manipulation and all that, and he was done. He was done. And of course, like any good friend, I had to start begging, "No, please, give her one more chance, this, that. He sounded like he would give her one more chance. Next thing we knew, I don't know, let's call it abracadabra, Raymond got married to someone else. Don't ask me if he had 2 women and he was watching which one would favor him. I don't know. After all, he had money, so money wasn't his issue. But that was how Jessica lost Raymond, in behaving and thinking she was indispensable. Of course, sometimes, yes, this program takes a relationship slant, but it's not always about relationships. But hey, there you have it. Indispensable. Only for her to find out dispensable. Of course, now, Jessica is married. But a part of me wondered, don't worry, she's not in this state. She lives in Abuja now. But a part of me wonders, does she regret Raymond? Does she miss him? Does she even wonder if he could have been the best fit for her? I don't know. Some say we are granted 3 love of our lives. So, okay, let's hope her current husband is the second love of her life. But see what happens when we think we are indispensable. When we think that the sun rises and sets on our bum. When we think we are the center of attraction. It's almost like a man proposes, God disposes moment. You know, it's in the Bible. When you come and I will do like this, and this will happen, and that will happen, and God will look at you and laugh and say, child. And with a snap of his fingers, he teaches you a lesson in humility. I really don't want God to teach me lessons of humility or lessons in humility, because they usually involve eating a lot of crow, usually involve a lot of embarrassment and shame. But lesson learned. Lesson learned. So let's be good to each other, because we are dispensable. There's a young girl I know. This happened over the weekend, Saturday. Her husband, well, he works. Sometimes he gets money, sometimes he doesn't. And so she had somewhere to go. But the husband had to go out earlier. He said he would come back to take care of the kids. It was a Saturday. I was there. Well, I was partly to blame, because I took him out. I needed him to help me do something. So we came back a bit late. But you see, the husband was such a caring fellow that he bought clothes for his children. Beautiful clothes. I just stood there looking, because I don't have children. I have nieces, but it's not my job to buy them clothes. It's my job to fill them with as much sugar and leave them for their mother to go crazy. Yes, I'm mischievous like that. So he bought the clothes, we came back. At least we returned early enough for her to be able to go out. And when they got in, just because I love seeing the smiles on children's faces, I was like, come and see, your daddy bought you something. And they're like, daddy, daddy. So it was fun. I like to play. Flaw or blessing, I don't know, but I love playing. So I was following them to jump, daddy, daddy. And he brought out his clothes. And his young wife came out, looked at him, and looked at the clothes as if it was a pile of rubbish, and just walked away. I suddenly stopped jumping because, like I said, I don't like confrontation of volatile situations. So I stopped jumping. I just sat down and, beg, let me respect myself before they tell me my life story. I'm too old. But the way she treated what he did, Of course, a big argument ensued. I went to stand outside. She lives in a huff. And he comes out and decides he wants to smoke to cool himself down. A habit I don't enjoy, but well, he has to cool himself down. Either that or smash the wall. And you see, this young man said something funny. He said, "Chai, I regret. I regret. Don, you get the kind of money I go make, I'll pick my children and show this woman. I'll just leave her." Of course, I have to say, no, you people are married, or don't do that, it's not good, or you know, temptation, this and that. We are dispensable. Just see, in that ugly situation, we are dispensable. It's time we all realize that, in one way or the other, we are all dispensable, and it's time we start living like that. Live as if there is no tomorrow. Go after the dream, yes. Be good to one another, because you don't know when it will end. And it will be good to be remembered for something good. I mean, come on. It will be good to leave a legacy. Say, this person touched my life. Oh, because of this person or because of that person, this has happened to me, that has happened to me. Yeah. And maybe in that moment, your gift, the gift of you, is the indispensability that stays. But if it's for dispensable, my brother, you and I, yes, we can disappear in the twinkle of an eye. So for you who's wondering, should I not? Should I go after this job? Should I speak up? Should I this? Should I that? You should. You should. Because it could all end just like that. Maybe you're in a relationship with a nice young man who's been telling you, marry me now, marry me now. Or a nice young woman who you want to marry, but for some reason you're dilly-dallying and missing out on a beautiful life with that person. It could all just be gone in a second. And it will be, oh, had I known. Child. Regrets don't keep anybody warm. Regrets don't give you food. Regret doesn't give anybody any kind of positive thing. So carry this with you. We are dispensable. In fact, stamp it on your forehead or put it somewhere in your car or in your house or whatever. Put it around. Dispensable. And let that word have bigger, greater meaning for you now. When you look at it, dispensable, oh yes, I will go for the job interview. You look at the word dispensable, I will speak up, let my voice be heard. Look at it, dispensable, I will vote because, hey, I need things to change. I need to see in Nigeria where, you know, there's lights, or there's water, or there's this or that. Because I could be gone in a second. So what am I doing with the time I have? What are we doing with the time we have? Limited as it is. Parents, connect with your children now, because they are dispensable and you are dispensable. Yes, I know you say, God forbid, Tofiakwa. I'm not wishing anybody death, but you know what? This is a dark eye-opener. You could faff around, be running around doing the different things you're doing, hanging out with the boys or hanging out with the girls and forgetting to connect with your children. And one day, you find yourself old and grey and they are gone, having lives of their own, and you two would have nothing relatable or nothing in common apart from maybe the one that DNA has put inside of your kid who possibly behaves like you, but you wouldn't know because the kid is not there. Or God forbid, even death. God forbid, but even death. What do you have to show for your time with each other? So you keep that fear aside. Whatever fear has been keeping you back from being, you keep that fear aside, knowing that you are dispensable. And you go and do. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Think about it really. You get it, or you don't. Life goes on. And another thing, while you're doing the getting and getting the getting, remember to also enjoy that life. Be content with the life you fought for. Enjoy it. Because when you go, another person will fill your shoes. But revel in the knowing of this, that in that moment when you were indispensable, you gave a good account of yourself. You were a star employee or employer. You were good at whatever was set in front of you. Be it a test, be it a challenge, be it a job, whatever. So when the time comes to leave, to go, you look back and say, yeah, I gave it my all. There's no what ifs. There's no what if had I. Because you gave a good account of yourself. But also remember to enjoy. So when the weekend comes around, laze. Feel good. Don't always be found in the office. I mean, goodness gracious, come on. Is your office your wife? Or your loved one? Or that cold bottle of beer? Yep. I don't drink, but, well, for those that drink, they enjoy something in it. So, cold bottle of beer. But remember, diabetes deal. I'm joking. So live. Enjoy. Be content. Be happy. Be indispensable until you are not. Time check is 25 minutes gone past 11 o'clock. And yes, the phone lines are open. I think it was 1508, although I don't know who that was. But now you can call in and I would be happy to take your calls, your contributions, your thoughts, your suggestions on the indispensability of man or the dispensability of man. The numbers to call are 080 928 95620. That's 080 928 95620. And if you would like to send in text messages, sure, you can do that on 090 8668 1703. That's for text messages only. 090 8668 1703. Call-in numbers only 080 928 95620. For some reason, I have this pressing in my head. Those that work, take it easy. Life isn't only about work. I don't know why it's pressing me on my head. Say it. Life isn't only about work. Realize in your dispensability or in the dispensability of you or your life that there are other things that make up you. Your job is only one, would I say, screw or one cog in the wheel or of the wheel. There are other things. So there's your family life, there's maybe relationships with friends, and maybe the things you like to do on your own, your hobbies, your vocation or extra calling. So everything there must be a balance in your life while you live. Like I said earlier, it's a dark one because it's almost like holding up a mirror to us, and we're looking at ourselves and knowing that, well, it's quite true. Death is around the corner. And as dark or, I don't know, maybe morbid as it might sound, it's something we should always, have at the back of our minds. How are we living our lives? Remember, it wasn't about a heaven or hell thing. It's just about us, our spirits, and the things, the essence will leave behind, the legacy will leave behind. Anyway, I did say I have a wonderful song to play for you, but a commercial just popped up. So we'll take the commercial, and when we come back, yes, we'll be having final thoughts and rounding up. So as always, don't touch that dial and don't go anywhere. And with 10 minutes to the top of the hour, I bid you guys welcome back to the program. This is still Dawn on Sundays, where we talk about our human walk, our human experience. We talk about it all. We are as raw as possible. raw in a good way, not raw in a bad way. And we've been talking about the indispensability of man, or dispensability of man. And yes, it's a shocking thing to, or a sombering thing to realize that it is actually true. We are quite dispensable. Now, if I scared anybody with today's topic, it was not my intent. I am so sorry. But sometimes, yes, life sometimes calls for a rude awakening. But remember, I did say the phone lines are open. You can squeeze in a call or two. You can call on 080-928-95620. That's 080-928-95620. And if you'd like to send a text message, you can do so on 0908-668-1703. I began this program by talking about a man who lost his father. A friend of mine, he's an egbon to me, who lost his father. And I talked about how, to him, his father wasn't dispensable. His father was indispensable. But because he hadn't, well, life, I guess, and the way life can be crazy, he didn't have that relationship with his father where you could say, okay, there's a connect. Where you can stand and say, my father is this, my father is that, because you and your father have a running relationship. But it was a relationship. He found that indispensability in death. Just before his father died, he was the one by his father's side, reading prayers to his father and reading books to his father. And in that moment, a rare thing occurred where a man who was bedridden would raise a hand and tap his son on his arm. Slow down, I'm following the prayer with you. In that moment, there was a connect he had always been searching for. May we have that indispensable connection with our loved ones. From this moment on, let's realize how our loved ones are important. How every cog in our life is important. One shouldn't be much more than the other. And in the realization that it could all come to an end in the twinkle of an eye, may we live life the best way we can. No matter how hard Nigeria is, I do believe we can work hard and make it. So live knowing that it could all just end. Live, and do not be afraid to live. Okay, I've got just a few minutes. Beautiful Aurelia Trust just strolled back, so it will be time for the news at noon. I want to leave you with a song. It's called Fall on Me by Andrea Bocelli and Matteo Bocelli, their father and son. Now, why I started this program with this song and I'm ending it with this song, because if you watch the video, just before Matteo, who's the son, Andrea is the father and Matteo is the son, just before Matteo, as Matteo starts to sing, the camera is on Andrea Bocelli's face and there's this smile, and it was almost like, damn man, I'm proud of you, that's my son, you know. And there was that connect. It's a connect I wish for all of us. So until I come your way, same time, same station, same every, we hope. Have a fantastic Sunday, everybody, and God bless.